In today's video, I'm going to talk about one of the most underrated effects in the guitarist's arsenal, the EQ pedal. Now this could apply to a physical pedal such as the Boss GE7 pedal or even the MXR 10-band EQ, but I'm going to be using the Fender Tone Master Pro and I'm going to be using a virtual EQ pedal to show you some of the effects that can be achieved. So let's dive in using Fender Pro Control for the Fender Tone Master Pro. You could be using any modeler to do this, or you could be using a physical pedal and amp combination. But what I have set up is the British 45 half stack using a greenback cabinet, a couple of mics on there, an SM57 and a ribbon R121. I have a large plate reverb as well, and that just sounds like this. I also have the EQ7 graphic based on the Boss GE7, and you can see everything is flat right now. The first trick that I'm going to show you is using the EQ pedal as a clean boost. So now that the pedal is switched on and everything is at 0, if I play a riff, you'll hear the bass tone. Now I'll push the gain all the way up to plus 12 dB. Now if I pull that back down to plus 7 dB. And just to remind you how it sounds at 0 dB. So that works really well as a clean boost to push an amp into more overdrive, but you can also use it as gain reduction to clean up a dirty amp. So let's try that. So I've pushed volume 1 up to 100% and I've increased volume 2 up to 75%. Have now. And this is how it sounds without the EQ pedal. Now I'm going to reduce the gain on the EQ pedal by minus 12 decibels. Minus 12 dB. If you've got a single channel amp or a modeler, this is a great way to reduce the input gain so that you can just clean up the amp that you're using and create a clean tone. This is also a great way to level out different guitars. You use the EQ gain to normalize the volume between the two guitars so that you have the same input gain going in, and therefore both guitars will sound very similar with the same setup. Moving on to one of the most sort of famous effects that you can create with an EQ pedal, the cocktail sound. So I'm going to boost 400, 800, 1.6. I'm going to cut the rest down to minus 12 dB. So this is the tone with the EQ pedal bypassed. And now I'll engage the EQ pedal. And you can play around with these sliders. Let's reduce 1.6K and see how that sounds. Put it down to 0. as you can see, you can make some really interesting effects with the EQ pedal, that one being the cocked wah, which means that the wah pedal is kind of up and it's left in a certain position. The next effect I'm going to show you is a kind of lo-fi sound. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away all of the bass frequencies, 100, 200, and 400. I'll leave the 3.2 and 6.4 kilohertz at 0, and then I'm going to boost the 800 and 1.6K. So take those up to 8 decibels each. This is the bypass tone. And now with the EQ engaged. The next trick I want to show you is how you can make a Les Paul sound a little bit more like a Strat, and a Strat a little bit more like a Les Paul. So let's start with the Les Paul. I'm going to use the neck pickup, and this is the bypass sound. So with the EQ pedal, I have reduced the bass frequencies quite a lot, and you can see the lower mids as well have been scooped right the way down. 1.6 kilohertz has been boosted, 3.2 kilohertz, almost 12 dB boost, and then the 6.4 kilohertz has also been pushed up to 8.5 decibels as well. So this is how it sounds now. Now, obviously, you can play around with that if you're not happy with the sound. Just push up 800 hertz. Now I'm going to switch over to my Strat style guitar with single coil pickups and see if we can make it sound a little bit more like a Les Paul. So now I'm using a guitar with single coil pickups, and this is the bass sound. So that's the neck pickup, and you've got lots of twang in that. So let's now try and dial some of that out using the EQ pedal. You can see I've got the bass and lower mid frequencies slowly ramping up here, and then I've cut the higher frequencies completely. So shaping the input before the amp means you can sculpt the tone of the pickups and transform it from sounding like one kind of guitar into another type of guitar. Now, I'm not sure if this has a particular name, but by boosting and cutting alternate frequencies, and there's two ways you can do this, you get a really interesting sound. So with the EQ bypassed, and now with, and now with those sliders flipped the other way, so 100 hertz is now plus 12 dB and 200 is minus 12 dB and so on. One more trick I want to show you with the EQ7 or the GE7 if you're using that is a way to warm up a sound if it's a little bit too bright. So what I'm going to do is have a overdrive sound. I've got, in this particular case, I've got a boost, which is a clean boost, and that's set to plus 10 dB. That's going after my EQ pedal. Then I've got the British Plexi and I've got the volume 1 and volume 2 set to maximum to 10. And the sound without the EQ pedal bypassed is this. Now that's a great tone in itself, but you can also add this where I've boosted the 800 Hertz. Let's make that 4 dB. I have the 3.2 kilohertz minus 4 dB. And then I've got 100 Hertz at -2 and 200 Hertz at -1.5. And that just takes a little bit of the top end out and boosts a little bit of those lower mids. Or is it upper mids? Again, bypassed. Now you don't have to use the EQ7. Obviously, if you have an MXR 10 band EQ or similar, you can use that instead. That would look more like this. And there are a lot more opportunities to do some tone shaping with this. It's a lot more complicated. Now with the 10 band EQ, I'm going to try recreating that same sound. So I'm going to boost the 1K by 4 dB. 4K I'm going to reduce by -4 dB. 125 Hertz -2. And then 62 and 31 Hertz by -12 dB. Here's the bypass. So whether you've got the digital modeler or physical pedals, you can see how useful an EQ pedal, whether it's a 5 band, 7 band, or 10 band, can really be to shape the tone. You can use them before the amp, you can use them after the amp, and you can use a combination to shape the tone coming into the amp and then to shape it again coming out of the amp. So there's a lot of opportunities to experiment, especially if you've got a modeler such as the Tone Master Pro. I hope you find this useful, and I'll see you in the next video.